Now it's always really important when you look at the flop to think who is this board better for, and sometimes in 4-bet pots you will see donk bets, but certainly any ace-high board is much better for the 4-better. Hey everyone, what's up? This is Uri for Guerrilla Poker. In this video I'm going to be doing something I haven't done in a while, which is a high stakes hand history review. Just picking some hands that were played in May, run you guys through the action as though you were one of the players, talk through the strategy, and yeah, you guys have seen this before. So let's get started. Stefan and Limitless still going at it just like they have been for a while. We're 120 deep and Limitless has ace of diamonds, queen of hearts. Very premium hand, heads up a hand you're always going to want to 3-bet. Not really happy to get stacks in 120 deep, but very good hand. So Stefan raises, Limitless obviously 3-bets, 4x sizing, which is fine, and he gets 4-bet to 2200, and I think at this point 120 deep there is basically only one play, which is to flat the 4-bet. Hands like ace queen offsuit are really good at flatting 4-bets, because the 4-bet bluffing range often has a bunch of hands like ace 9, ace 8, ace 10, just hands that you dominate with ace queen. So even though you lose to ace king, you do actually beat lots and lots of bluffs. So it's a really good hand to flat with, which Limitless does. And yeah, stacking off you wouldn't be doing very well. Ace 10-7 two-tone board. Now it's always really important when you look at the flop to think who is this board better for, and sometimes in 4-bet pots you will see donk bets, but certainly any ace-high board is much better for the 4-better. So Limitless is gonna check, Stefan checks back, turn is the king of diamonds, and now we need as Limitless to pause and kind of think, you know, what is Stefan's range for checking back this board that looks very good for him. If someone 4-bets and it comes an ace-high board and he checks back, the range that should be in your head for him to check back is just a bunch of pocket pairs. Maybe some weak aces, but really the natural hands to check back are aces, kings, queens, jacks. All of those naturally check back. Aces because you have top set, kings, queens, and jacks because, you know, they don't accomplish very much by betting. And of course, maybe it's ace-5 offsuit, maybe it's like a random 10-6 suited someone threw in there, but the kind of bulk of the range that you should be imagining is aces, kings, queens, jacks. And then when you look at the turn, given that, you can think, is this turn good for me or bad for me? And in this context, seeing a king, queen, or jack is a bit bad, right? Because king, queen, or jack, two of the pocket pairs improve to gut shots and the third improve to a set. So king of diamonds, very good card for Stefan's range. And Limitless with ace queen has to kind of think, you know, where am I at with ace queen and what do I want to do? Because of the way the 4-bet range is constructed, even though ace queen is a really strong hand given this SPR, it's not super clear that there are a bunch of hands you can get value from, right? You block pocket queens, pocket jacks is gonna call you, I don't know, once at most probably. Like I said, there are random ace-x, all of which you can get value from, but some of those might have bet the flop. So even though you have a really strong hand, given the context of the situation, it's not as insane as it looks. Like the king is a big danger card. 3 combos of pocket kings, you block pocket queens, there is pocket jack, so you're not actually doing all that well if tons of money goes in. So Limitless does elect to bet, which is perfectly fine. Now, if we're kind of widening our thought process, you know, maybe Stefan has a king, maybe has king jack, queen jack, jack 10, like there are plenty of hands he can have. The reason that I'm really focused on the pocket pairs is that kings, queens, and jacks are like always 4-bet and mostly check back flop, so you get tons of those combos. While a hand like king jack or jack 10 or ace 6, those kind of rarely 4-bet, they're mixed, pre-flop, and they might c-bet more often, so you're gonna see them less represented than aces, kings, queens, jacks. Be that as it may, Limitless decides to bet, Stefan calls, and at this point, if I'm Limitless, I'm thinking, you know, what's Stefan's range for calling? Pocket queens, maybe. I mean, I block a queen, but there is still pocket queens possible. There's pocket jacks. There is aces, even though I block aces heavily, so just one combo of aces. There's kings. And then there's, you know, the all over the place stuff. There's ace 3, there's jack 10, maybe there's, I I don't know, queen 7, some spade draw that he checked back like a 9-6 of spades. Like, these guys can have anything, but it's just important to remember that the anything is rare. It's just 2 random cards, so it's tough for it to be a specific combination. While aces, kings, queens, jacks, very, very common. We get the queen of clubs river, and you know, what do you do with ace queen here? It's kind of a tough decision. You have roughly 2/3 pot behind. You don't beat aces, you don't beat kings, you don't beat queens, you don't beat jacks. You don't beat very much. Now, you know, when there's not a lot of money behind, very often, it just kind of makes sense to be like, okay, I'm just going all in with this hand because, like, what else am I gonna do? There's not enough money behind where I'm really gonna fold. Maybe he calls me with king queen or ace 3 or whatever. Looking at this hand, what's going on here? Intuitively, before looking at the solver, just kind of reading the ranges, I would say Limitless's hand is not good enough to go all in. Like, plain and simple, the hand is too weak given the context of the ranges in the situation, which means either bet fairly small or check, and if Stefan goes all in, you make a decision. Be that as it may, Limitless does go all in. He gets called by Stefan, who has kings, so very naturally played hand for Stefan. Limitless more interesting. Interesting enough where I would like to run it through a solver to see how my intuition fares against the solver and compare to what Limitless did. And I think it's really important when you're working to have your own ideas about stuff and then compare them. There are so many situations and so many nuances. And I think the thought process of, you know, check back, aces, kings, queens, jacks is a really important one. And that's what's leading me in the analysis of, like, what the hell is the solver going to show? And if the board were different, we might treat, like, different forced rates would work very, very differently in this context. So let me quickly load that up. I want to preface the solver analysis by saying that it's going to be a bit rough around the edges. I do not have, like, heads up 120 deep ranges exactly. But we're still going to look at the general shape of the spot. So even though my ranges are for sure off, I think my sims have larger 3-bet sizes, but they do have 4x 3-bet as well. We'll still be able to get at the general structure of the solution. So this is just to check if my intuition is correct or not. So first of all, yes, Stefan should have, of course, bet everything on this board. It's really good for him, which I definitely expect. But you know, if you're gonna not bet something, so this is kind of a how to use solvers question. Don't want to bore you guys with this stuff, but he checked back, right? He should bet everything. So what's the use of looking at anything else? So the answer is, you know, just give him just a bigger c-bet size. By giving him only a bigger c-bet size, which is maybe the strategy he's using, you will see the solver actually not c-bet everything anymore and have a more coherent solution. This is where you see kind of what I was telling you guys in terms of the structure. This is Stefan's flop strategy, and what is he checking back? Aces, kings, queens, and jacks, and, you know, some random stuff. But in terms of the bulk of the check back range, it's aces, kings, queens, and jacks. So once it goes check, check, and turn is a king of diamonds, you guys can see that Limitless is actually supposed to almost never bet on a king with nothing. Doesn't matter. Does he have ace queen? Does he have ace jack? Because the king is so good for Limitless's check-back range. And if we look at different cards here, I'm switching to the queen, no betting. On the jack, we see a bit of betting. But what if I put like a 5? On a 5, there's 35% betting. You do start betting. So in terms of, like I said, how to think about the spot, check-back range is all the pocket pairs. Pocket pairs are really good for him. And like I said, the turn bet is already awkward. PioSOLVER will not even bet this turn. And it actually considers betting ace queen with my precise ranges just a flat out mistake. If you bet, you're just not doing that well. And here you can see against the bet, Stefan should be raising aces and kings often and tens often, which, you know, whatever, he didn't this time. But then were he to shove, ace queen would kind of reluctantly call it off, but not have much EV. So either way we bet, get called. Queen of clubs river, and here I was saying, you know, the queen of clubs river seems so bad to me for a hand like ace queen just because of aces, kings, queens, jacks, right? Like exactly what I keep saying. And you guys can see here, even though these hands are barely in the range, you can see like what they would do here. So something like ace queen is flat out just not good enough to bet. This is actually a fairly big mistake to bet. Ace king is only good enough for a block bet. Shoving ace king would be a fairly large mistake. You can't even shove a hand as strong as pocket kings. Because what happens when you shove and Stefan calls, say you have something like ace queen, you're going to have 13% equity against the calling range. I think the spot actually plays, barring the slightly different ranges, exactly in the way that I described, where the thought process is something you can generalize across ace high textures in 4-bet pots, heads up 6 max. It's the same thought process always, and we can see that hopefully someone can tell Limitless to watch this video. Maybe this helps him to understand things a bit better. It does seem like he butchered the hand in the sense that he played ace queen and the way you would traditionally play ace queen as far as the SPR and the stack depth, but very, very low range awareness of the situation, and like, what is Stefan's range going to be in a 4-bet pot in this kind of situation? Ends up making, I think, fairly large, fairly obvious theoretical mistakes. Kind of surprising, to be honest, at this level, but you know, shit happens. So hopefully there were some interesting takeaways for everyone in terms of strategy. And even though it's a heads up hand, like I said, you play 6 max, things were kind of the same. You know, someone checks back, pocket pairs. So something for you guys to keep in mind and maybe use in the future. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe. Check out the Guerrilla Poker website. We have tons of cool stuff, accurate pre-flop ranges. We have a course about how to improve your red line. And I know I keep saying this, but it is actually true. We have 2 new courses currently in production that will come up soon, and if you subscribe on the site, not only do you get a free chapter of the Redline course, we will notify you when those come out. If you guys enjoyed the video, by the way, let me know in the comments. I'm happy to do more analysis. I think I'm gonna have a few more of the May hands coming up. Hopefully we'll fire a few more per video next time. So, see you guys then.